Making internet art film, I've come to the point where when I approach a project, I am creating an art, a piece of art. I approach it from a point of view of art. What I see as art and what is expressed with. I don't know what's inside of the audience that is watching. I have no idea who will be watching. But the course of making art, I have come to understand it is about the expression itself. And part of these expressions are now up on the walls of RG Studios. Some of these expressions I auctioned out in RG Studios internet auctions. Hello, I'm RG, and this is my studio. Welcome once again to RG Studios Behind the Scenes. What I do here is stuff that you may not know, behind the scenes stuff, that I do creatively. Believe it or not, how I got started in movies or making films at one point in my life, it all began with the special effects arena, for me, in a sense. Watching the trailers for years as a child, and then hands-on, it began from there, a special effects sort of treating, and within that context of creating, I had become inspired by the special effects of films and at one point wanted to recreate what I had already seen, and then that evolved in creating stuff that was within inside right here. And my inspiration today comes from that arena of special effects. You see, for me as a filmmaker, special effects is an interesting thing. And as a viewer, I'm more captivated or pulled in when the special effects doesn't keep my attention to the point where I'm just too fascinated to understand the story. It has to draw me in and lay out the foundation, at least at this point in life. I can't say that when I was 20, because when I was 20, I was into every inkling of special effects. I went to films that didn't have a plot at all, but they had some special effects, some good ones. So I'm not against films that have no plot and just all for the bang for the buck or what sort of thing. I'm not against that, because I had to look at them and other people are inspired by them, so it can happen to everyone. A storyline with good special effects, the special effects has to draw me in. As this, this old boy here has to be drawn into the story, and the special effects has to help it. It doesn't have to be really, really good special effects. It just got to it can't take away from the storyline. If it takes away from the storyline, then I'm gonna be sitting there going, "Why am I watching this?" But that's how I begun. And I'm inspired by special effects and the effects houses of old. It seems to be that there's a turning point coming around. I don't know if anybody sees this going on in the world of in the industry, so to speak. I'm starting to see special effects houses are becoming a few. They're shutting down and so forth and so on. There's a lot of layoffs going on. They're like, what's going on here? Is this the end of the practical effects era? Models and practical effects and everything to do with practical effects. And now that we're in the age of 2014, it's like there's a dissipating film of vapor of what used to be. I don't know. Maybe it's me, but I see a moment or a time at this point where special effects houses are different than what they were back when I was a kid and growing up and was inspired by them. I'm inspired by the whole industry as a whole. But at that time as a child, it was the special effects houses I knew nothing about really that were garnering for my attention, that grabbed me, And it's like those special effects houses are now are leaving. Well, what better way can I say it? CGI and digital effects have made some special practical effects obsolete, But that's not what I'm here to talk about. I'm here to talk about what has inspired me as a filmmaker. And what has inspired me as a filmmaker is is the work that goes into creating the art itself. You know, that's what has kept me going for so long, the work that it takes to make the art. And I started making my roads into that when I made the film The Murderer back in 1979. It was basically a puppet, a doll, holding a knife, like one of these slasher movies, you know, that we come to know during the 80s, you know, holding a knife like this here, and I wanted to show this knife being thrown through the air, and then at the same time, when I turn around and I'm at this door, this knife, oh no, well, first at this tree, and this knife comes swishing by, and sticks into the tree, and like that. I had a couple of shots in this little 12-minute movie of this knife. You know, that was the reason why this was created. You know, to see this knife go in the tree, in the door, and to me make these, you know, sudden, you know, shock faces, and that was it. What was the plot of the story? I don't quite remember the plot of that story. It's forgettable. But anyway, that's the inspiration that I have today. What I got for you today is stuff that I have worked with in the past. Some puppets and stuff like one of the puppets that I've used in the film The Masked Man, which I call the Ancient One. I show you a little bit of green screen stuff there. The Power Boy scene with the puppet. Kids love this shot. I kind of today I kind of wonder what is it with the puppets, man. But anyway, you're gonna get a look at how I shoot these scenes, and that's what I got for you today. And I'll be right back to talk to you right away. Well, you know, when I shot the scenes for Real Comanche, one thing I had to keep in mind was that there were going to be a lot of scenes that I would call generic shots that would add to a scene like the saloon scenes. There wasn't. The reason why I call them generic because I didn't want to stick to a 1, 2, 3 scripted shot. I'm sure this is probably done a lot with a lot of filmmakers where they just allowed their creative energy to take responsibility and to make it happen. So I wanted to create different shots, different scenes of walk-bys, whatever, talking phases, whatever you call it, that you may think be going on in a saloon, and then thus add them to the scenes that seem to fit all through a creative process. Nothing was really orchestrated unless it was really unnecessary for a scene to have, for instance, a fight in the background because of something and etc. that added to the story.
That's what I'm talking about, you know, okay, action, get something over here. Yeah, so, you know what I'm talking about. I just went over there and something's really, okay. Get over here again. Now, do a switcheroo or action.
There was parts in the script that it was nowhere written in the script that there had to be a walk by or somebody talking. I just said that's a good shot for it, and that's where it went. And that's how that creative energy flows. Then I got shots where I had to do the background placed completely for the shots themselves. These were photographic miniatures put into 1, 2, 3 certain squares, and then I like movement with my scenes. I don't like scenes that seem to be still all the time. Sometimes when you do a shot, you want stuff to happen in the camera. The more you can get it, sometimes as a filmmaker, you see it's better because there's less work for you in the creative process. But then again, it can add to the creative process. It can go both ways. Many different slices can come out of a practical effect, and shooting a bloodshot is one of them.
Bam. Okay.
You got it.
Let's act.
All right. Action. The miniatures I love because they're so detailed. The action figures, when I buy them, they're so detailed. I just love. And why waste a detailed action figure when you can put them in a movie and make something happen from it? there's so much creative energy that can come from that shot is unreal. The ancient ones were the ones that I just saw so much detail in them. And I wanted something good to happen. So good that I'm going to use them in another film.
Destroy them.
Sokoba, the Middle Kingdom Wars, is what I'm going to use the ancient ones again. Because they're such a good character framework, and I love the details, and they can fit in practically almost anything. If you get the story context down right, you can put them in anything.
Okay. Action.
This was a shot that was used in The Masked Man. The shark was another scene that was done. I didn't have the tools to have a real big shark, so I shot all the shots of the shark in miniature in my bathtub. Painted the water, dyed the water the color that I wanted, that I thought the sea would look like, or artfully what I wanted it to look like. You know, and I'm a big filmmaker on practical effects. Character called Dr. Hideous.
Action.
I wanted Dr. Hideous. I bought this mask, but I wanted him to talk because it was so creative to have him talk every now and again, have that jaw move, do all creative stuff. So I decided to shoot his scenes, the head shots, green screen, and combine them later with live action or miniature or whatever.
I shall call you the creature.
And here we have the Power Boy shot. Shot that I just wanted. I said, why do the Muppets that you see in movies never have feet, never move around? This one was a complete Muppet with legs and everything. I said, why not have him move around? So I come up with this technique here to have him move around and stomp and whatever, and be in the scene as a person, you know, as a live little entity. The kids got a kick out of it. It was really fun to shoot this creative shot. I could have shot some more of him, but that day when I was really creative, that was the only thing I wanted to see, was that scene right there. It might have been another couple of shots, but that was basically it.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that special episode of Behind the Scenes at RG Studios. You know, as I said before, I don't do a lot of behind the scenes stuff, but every now and again I try to catch a clip that gives you a breath of look at what goes on behind the scenes at RG Studios. Because every now and again there's always that something special that inspires someone out there. You never know. And way back some time ago, it inspired me. And I have become who I am today because of someone out there who loves art as much as I do. And I hope to give it to those as well. You guys have a nice day. And I'll see you again in about 3 months. Later.